So, my name is Steve Moore. I'm an economist. I work at the Heritage Foundation, and I'm an economic commentator for Fox News.
Oh, you are? Okay. We've had Robert Bryce on the program before, who's been a Fox business guest from time to time out of the Manhattan Institute.
Oh, I know Robert.
Yeah, okay. But first question, is this your first time ever doing an interview in a vehicle?
No, actually, it isn't. I remember I did some stuff with Glenn Beck in a vehicle. I did TV in a vehicle, so maybe this is the first time doing radio.
Why are you in North Dakota?
Well, look, I think that what's happening here with the drilling revolution is such a testament to the power of ideas, the power of entrepreneurship, the power of ingenuity, and American know-how. And this is a revolution that has been really created by people who went out and had the fortitude to figure out how to, crack the code to figuring out how to get at this oil and gas that is so plentiful and bountiful in the state. And as I said in my talk out here, it's the frackers and the industry that's really carried the rest of the U.S. economy on its back for the last 6 years. Almost all the net new jobs have been in the oil and gas industry. And the irony, of course, is that President Obama hates this industry. And yet, without this industry, we would still be in a recession virtually.
I've made the comment that this oil play is really a technology play.
It's no question about it. You're
Okay.
exactly right.
Yes.
Well, it is a technology play. As I said in my speech, it's not as if the oil and gas just all of a sudden showed up here. It's been there for hundreds of thousands of years. It's just that we, through human ingenuity and stick-to-itiveness and people taking risk, they figured out how to get at this. And that's really the whole story of the energy revolution. And anyone who thinks we're going to power our $18 trillion economy with windmills is smoking something. We need our oil and gas and coal and nuclear power. And we have a president who's hostile to these kinds of, abundant energies. And so I think it's a shame because we can, within 5 years, become energy independent. And not just energy independent, but energy dominant in the world. We can be the Saudi Arabia of energy if we just had a president who wanted this to happen and didn't build every possible roadblock to, we need to loosen the grip of the EPA. We need to build pipelines. We need to allow drilling on public lands. We need to allow the exporting of our oil and gas. If you do those things, we can, practically double our oil and gas output.
I noticed in your presentation today that two of the states that were doing very well over the past 5-10 years, whatever the time period was, did not have a state income tax. And that came up in your presentation to the tune to where you pointed it out.
Yeah, well, there's 9 states in this country that don't have an income tax, and those include Tennessee, Texas, Florida, New Hampshire, Nevada, Wyoming, South Dakota, and North Dakota ought to become the 10th state in this country that doesn't have an income tax, and I feel very strongly about that. You have the revenue source through energy to be able to eliminate your income tax, and that'll bring a lot of new jobs to this area in addition to the oil revolution. So let's make North Dakota the 10th state in this country without an income tax. That's something I feel is an enormous benefit to the state in terms of helping lift all boats and making sure that everyone has opportunity. At least get rid of the tax on wages and salaries. That'll give a pay raise to every worker in the state of North Dakota.
To an entrepreneur, somebody who's got that capitalistic mind, what's the best way to get them to understand or to know what you're talking about in terms of the state income tax? Because that opens up discretionary dollars. That opens up travel money. That opens up idea money.
You want to tax people on what they take out of the economy, what they consume, rather than what they put into the economy, which is the work and effort and risk-taking and investment. So I've always believed the income tax is the worst kind of tax, and my research shows very unequivocally that that's statistically true, that states without an income tax create about twice as many jobs as states that do have an income tax, especially the high tax states. Now, I come from a high tax state. I come from Illinois, but I also worked in New York. New York is one of the highest tax states in the country. Look what's happening in California. This great state of California is being taxed to death. They have the highest income tax on the rich, and guess what? People are leaving.
So what's going on in Utah? That's your number one I know they got some oil and gas play there, more of a I think gas play than oil, but
yeah, I think Utah just is a pro-business. It's, and there's nothing wrong with being pro-business. I mean, being pro-business is being pro-worker, and it has a light touch of regulation. It has fairly low taxes, good public services, good schools. It doesn't have high workers' compensation costs. Its property taxes are reasonable. And the kind of culture of that state is pro-enterprise, and I get so annoyed by liberals who feel like businesses are Satan. I mean, look, there's an old saying: liberals love jobs, but they hate employers. Well, you can't have one without the other.
So, what advice would you have for some young or old capitalist, whoever it might be, entrepreneur, looking at there's a lot of there's a national push right now for startups and entrepreneurism, so a lot of people have that mindset going right now. What advice would you give somebody looking to, I said, get in for the first time or get back into it?
There's nothing more promising and more gratifying than starting your own business. That's working for someone else, but creating your own enterprise and building something and setting out your own shingle. And I've done that. I've had 3 businesses. 2 of them have failed. 1 of them was a success. That's sort of the batting average for most businesses. About 1 of 3 succeeds. But it's gratifying. It's if you're an employer, you're not just taking care of yourself, but you're really helping your employees. This idea that employers are terrible and evil and they don't care about their workers is ridiculous. They wouldn't have started a business if they didn't care about workers. So I always tell young people that one of the greatest callings you can have is to start your own business and sign the front end of the paycheck, not the back end of the paycheck.
All right, final thoughts for you here, and just maybe your message today, just as we get close to the airport. We're going to wrap this up here, and just, what you want to leave people.
I love this weather. I love this 70-degree weather and beautiful Fargo, North Dakota. I love the people here. I've had a great time, and people are so down to earth here, and so there's just wisdom, and there's a hard work ethic, and it's one of the things that makes this such a great state. And I can't wait to come back, but I'm not coming back in February again because it was too damn cold for me.
Thank you,
and
sir.
I'm from Chicago, so that's saying a lot.
That is the Windy City. I was told by a professor it's the Windy City because of the politicians, not because of the wind.
So I think a little bit of both.
All right, thank you.